I think it's pretty easy to not like us.
I mean, how hard is it to draw the extra part on the map?
People say that we're not a part of Australia, and I've heard people argue that it's a completely different place. It's really not.
This is where you want to be, bro. I swear down.
Hey, I'm Josh, and welcome to Tasmania. Time moves a little bit slower in Tasmania, and that's the way they like it. Tasmania occasionally gets forgotten on official maps, and it's the butt of the joke for a lot of Australians. So I decided to fly down to Tasmania to find out what it's really like and talk to some of the locals. Since I got here, I've heard a few Tasmanians refer to the rest of Australia as the mainland.
Yeah.
Is there a rivalry there?
Yeah, definitely. Tassie gets forgotten because it's just so small down here.
I wouldn't say a rivalry, the mainland's just better.
I was laughed at on the mainland for calling it the mainland. It's not something that people who aren't from Tasmania call it, but it is a thing. And I got teased a lot for having two heads.
I've heard people argue that it's a completely different place. It's really not. We all have the same currency, speak the same language, we're all the same people.
Australia.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's always separation between sort of a mainland and a hinterland. People on Bruny Island refer to Tasmania as the mainland. Australia is an island itself.
I think mostly it's good-natured ribbing just because we are so separated from the mainland, and so we've got to do something.
Nah, there ain't no rivalry. Most of the Tasmanians you'll find move up to the Gold Coast or some hotter places just because it's way better up there. Way more heat. I like cold, so I'm gonna stay here.
Do you like living here? What are the pros and cons?
Absolutely love living here. I think there's amazing food, bars, coffee. I've always said if there's good beer and good coffee, I'm happy in a place, and Tasmania's stacked. So
I think Tasmania's genuinely beautiful. I think it's incredible here, and I don't think I'd want to really live anywhere else.
It's alright, it gets a bit boring. Bogans get a bit much sometimes, you know how they be, but other than that, it's just as good as any other place. It's cold, and that's how I like it.
Yeah, I like living here. I like the scenery and like the landscape and stuff.
You know, like everyone, you go down to town, you see people you know, you can always stop and have a conversation while you're out and doing your business.
Yeah, I enjoy living here. Pros is it's pretty laid back and casual, but the cons is there's not as many opportunities as you'd find in bigger places.
I love it here. I reckon the con's probably the weather. It's too bipolar for me. It's all over the place. Like last week we had nice weather, then this week it's pretty bad.
There's a lot to do, and the scenery's beautiful, and the people are nice.
Yeah, the rain gets to it. I was having a good day until it started raining. The weather's very unpredictable, so.
I love living in Tasmania. As part of my job, I travel all around the world, and I always enjoy coming home, and I really appreciate it because I've seen so much of the world.
Yeah, I love living here. Everything's pretty close, beach, mountains, snowboarding, bike riding. You can do everything sort of within an hour.
A lot of people that come to Tasmania, they say it's the best state in Australia. But a lot of Aussies that haven't been here say it's the worst state in Australia. Why do you think people get this idea about Tassie?
I don't know. I think it's a tough one. There are certainly problems in Tasmania. There's not. There are issues in terms of the health system here. We've got a lot of pressure on our aged care services. There are a lot of issues that we have to grapple with. But on the upside, it's actually starting to become a massive destination tourism-wise. There is a lot of economic development here. So I think in the next few years, we'll start to see more and more of those mainlanders who maybe previously might have joked about the place think, actually, I can afford to live in Tasmania much more than I can afford to live in Sydney or Melbourne.
I think it's because we are separated and because people have to really make an effort to come down here and to do stuff. I think it's pretty easy to not like us. Also, we have some real off politicians like Jackie Lambie from here, so...
I'm guessing because of up on the mainland, there's so much more to do. You got parks in Melbourne you can go to, you got parks in Queensland you can go to. There's better beaches. You can meet a new person every day and not see them ever again, kind of thing. Whereas down here, I could bump into you and see you 3 weeks later, and it's easy as.
Probably because we're built on. Because more convicts were sent here than anywhere else in Australia. Port Arthur, there's a lot, so they think that we're more hardened criminals and shenanigans pretty much.
I think it has a reputation because of being a little bit behind the times. What's interesting is that now that's actually an appeal for people, and tourists are attracted to its antiquated charm.
It's just the mainland has more stuff. Tassie is probably nicer people and more friendly people, but the mainland just has more entertaining things to do.
Does it bother you when Tasmania gets left off the map, or you don't really care?
I'm actually a cartographer, so I just chuckle about it.
I'm not too fussed about it.
I don't personally care, and I don't know anyone who does. It's more of a laughing point than anything else.
It doesn't legitimately bother me, but if it happened, I'd probably make a fuss just for the sake of it.
I don't mind. Sometimes it's nice having less people down here, so if they sort of forget about us, it's good.
I kind of like it because it keeps other people away.
You don't want people to come here?
No, not really, because then
Who
it
brings
starts.
us money?
But it starts rubbish that we don't need.
It does actually. Like, I mean, in some circumstances when people are talking about wars and whatnot, we find it funny because half the time we're not on the map for a lot of places, but it's kind of offensive. It kind of hurts a little bit. Just here, it's like half the world doesn't know we're here.
Yeah, well, there's also pros and cons to that.
Yeah.
If we're not really on the map war-wise, then we just won't be attacked or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
In the war against Australia, Tasmania's safe.
Yeah, it bothers me. I've seen it a few times, and I'm like, well, we're still a part of Australia. We're still in this world. We might be more mighty than some of the big cities out there. Like,
this is like just no Tasmania. That hurts. It cuts deep.
It hurts.
It hurts. It hurts.
For anyone watching this who hasn't been here, can you tell me what Tasmania has to offer?
Oh, so much. I think the scenery is among the, if not the best in Australia. I think the food is probably the best in the country. As I said before, beer, coffee, just good. A really good nightlife scene, a surprisingly good nightlife scene for people who want to go out and have a few drinks. And just some really nice people. I think people are quite friendly down here, really, generally.
It's one of the most unique and beautiful places in the world, and it has a very dark history. Which I think it's important to engage with places like that throughout the world.
more than anything, people. The people here, like, there's some lovely people here. Like in everywhere, there's going to be people that aren't lovely, but the people here, they're so accepting, and I have friends that have come from all different places. I have friends from Iran, and they're accepted with open arms. And
it has the best environment in the world. Everywhere you go, you see beautiful scenery, and I guess it's a relatively small population, so you know most people, and everything's cheaper.
We've got paddy melons and bumblebees. Like, why else would you need
You
a
have
reason
what?
to be here?
Paddy.
We don't have kangaroos, but we have paddy melons. They're like an even smaller, like marsupial, kind of like a little wallaby.
Oh, okay.
And we also have bumblebees, which they don't have them on the mainland. So,
Okay.
you know, food, wine, beautiful scenery, etc. It's all here.
There is a lot of things going on all around Tasmania about local markets, the local produce. So there is a lot to offer. And even if you like hiking or just going in a bike or just you love the wildness, I think that you should go to Tasmania.
Some of the best wines, some of the best people, and some of the best sights, for sure. Besides the Bogans, everyone else here is super nice. And, you know, if you like cold weather and it not be like raining all the time, this is the place to come.
Beautiful bushland. There's really nice bushwalks, good drives, and yeah.
Nice beaches.
Oh, well, there is a lot of beaches. So then, because like Sydney, wait, is it in Sydney?
Yeah.
Bondi Beach, that's like really busy because it's like the only beach they have. Whereas we have so many that they're really quiet.
What are they missing out on?
They are missing out on cheese, wine, getting extremely drunk, and that's about it.